Hi, my name is Greg, and I'm the pastor here at FBC Medford. Today is Friday, February 9th, 2024. Welcome to today's FBC EConnect. In modern times, we have heard all too often of Christian teachers, leaders, and pastors who were discovered to be involved in scandalous events. Infidelity, financial impropriety, and abuse of alcohol and drugs are a few of the vices that these leaders allowed into their lives, and it upended their families and their ministries. We might be tempted to think this is a modern development. Unfortunately, it isn't. 1 Corinthians 5 reveals a shocking scandal that was occurring within the church. What is even more surprising is that it wasn't a secret. The people in the church were well aware of what was going on. Here's what it says in 1 Corinthians 5, verses 1 and 2. It is actually reported there is sexual immorality among you, and of a kind that is not tolerated even among the pagans. For a man has his father's wife, and you are arrogant. Ought you not rather mourn? Let him who has done this be removed from among you. How could it be that the people of the church would come to accept behavior that runs counter to the truth of the gospel? The Bible doesn't tell us in this section of the scripture what happened in Corinth, but there are some principles we can draw from the scripture. First, people often abuse grace. They say, since we're saved by grace, sinning doesn't matter because we're forgiven. But this isn't the gospel. We were saved from sin. We weren't saved to sin. As the Bible reminds us in Romans 6, verses 1 and 2, it says, "What shall we say then? Are we to continue in sin so that grace may abound? By no means. How can we who died to sin still live in it?" Second thing is that people often think a little sin is okay if it is outweighed by good deeds. And that might be what was going on in the church in Corinth. In 1 Corinthians 5:6, it says, "Your boasting is not good. Do you not know that a little leaven leavens the whole lump?" We think, I do a lot of good, I know my Bible, and I go to church, and I listen to the right podcasts, so a little sin that doesn't hurt anybody on the side, well, it should be fine. And the gospel reminds us it isn't fine. We return to sin. That's like going back to the very thing that Jesus died to save us from. Living a life of freedom in the gospel is a life of worship, where we pursue living in the righteousness Jesus has already given. Or, as Hebrews 12, 1 and 2 says, "Let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith." I look forward to seeing you in church on Sunday. This week during our time in the Word, we'll look at 1 Corinthians 5, verses 1 through 5. We'll see you then.